a key part of my job is helping them learn about alternatives, cost-effective alternatives. So for me to be able to do that, I have to learn more about what it is that your firms do. It's very, very important that the firms understand where they play, in what tier they are. There is nothing wrong with being a tier 3 firm at a particular practice area group if your fee structures represent that, reflect that. There's always going to be a need for representation at different levels.
It's the team. So the partners hopefully aren't going to be the ones doing all the work because the client doesn't want that, because that's the most expensive way to get the matter done. So you want to know who do they have with them in terms of associates, counsel, the team that will be doing the work as well. They're equally as important, and that shows where the real value is. I think when we talk about like value add to the matter, you need to know that the people supporting the partner are competent and qualified and have done this before and will be able to do it efficiently.
For us, typically, we're a heavily regulated entity. So having experience in working for heavily regulated entities is key. Having experience for working in the banking industry, for the banking industry, is key. We never want to be teaching our outside counsel what banking terms of art mean, or how a regulator or the regulations that we work under will affect the conduct of a case or a transaction. The questions they ask are very, very important. If you come to the table and just tell us how good you are, then you probably aren't going to be selected, because you have to ask questions. You'll never know enough in an RFP to be able to bid properly. So help me understand at what level and what kinds of engagements and for what kind of law you should be brought in. Help me understand, what do you have in the way of project management, and how is it actually used? Lots of law firms come in and say, we've got project managers. Help me understand how that's actually used in practice.
Your discounted rates are we know they're really discounted, and we know that if we depend on those rates, we may not get the A team, because you're not going to be able to use the A team and do it in a way that's profitable for the firm. So that's why we really are interested in alternative fee arrangements, and tell us how you can do it at a fixed fee or a flat fee or some type of arrangement where we can take the discounts off the table and we know how much we're going to pay, and then you manage it. And then you manage it how you see fit, and then that way you're more inclined to put the A team on it if they can do it efficiently.
If you're going to use someone to provide services to us through you, then you must have the same level of oversight over those people that we have over you.
They'd call me and they'd say, listen, this just happened, and this could really impact this project. So I'm going to look into it for you and I'll get back to you. But it was just that personal contact. Like, they knew my business and they knew what was important. They also knew I was really busy and didn't have time to necessarily read the blogs and the e-alerts and the newsletters and everything. So that personal touch was really important. I don't know if that's something you can put in an RFP, but I will say that made a big difference.
Generally, I'm only going to invite firms who are roughly comparable. I'm not going to invite a firm whose rates are up here and rates down here. So it's not. I would say it's not. It's definitely not just about fees. I would say the most important aspect of the RFP process is to understand how you will engage with something. What is your plan? How will you approach this? What do you think is important? We very much use the RFP process as a learning tool.
When you break it down into a budget and look at the tasks and how much time it should take on a task, you may be able to explain to the client why something is going to be more costly, because you anticipate this and this and this. And then when you get to the point and it does go completely off course, you're not blindsiding the client, because they've seen how you budgeted it, why you budgeted it, your justification for everything. And we found that that's been really helpful to put in an RFP, not just the price, not just all the assumptions, but the actual way that you've budgeted and how you're going to use the different attorneys on the matter.
Yeah, absolutely. We will ask you for a budget afterwards anyway, so you may as well put it in the RFP. And it comes back to that firm who said, these are those 3 risky issues. If that's reflected in the budget, then we can see, okay, you're putting more into your fee because of this risk area. That's great, we can see that. So the more you can break it down, the more insight we can have into how you will execute, what you think are the risks, where you're going to focus your resources. And that helps us give us the impression, that gives us confidence in the fee that you've come up with is going to be the fee that we actually end up paying.
Being on that preferred provider list makes it a lot easier to get in the door. If you're not on the list at most companies, they can't even consider you. It's too complicated. I mean, we had a whole system at my past 2 companies where you had to go in, and if they were on the preferred provider, okay, they're already set up. They set you up with billing. They have everything ready to go. They can issue checks, receive invoice. Everything's done, and it makes it that much faster. So when you do have an engagement come up and you need an immediate team on the ground, you don't have to do all that back office work.
So if you're a sourced firm, we will in time come out to you and we'll audit your IT systems. We'll work with you to understand what your risk profile is. That'll inform the types of matters we can give you. If you're not a sourced firm, we don't have that information, we can only give you the least risky of work. So I would say it's if you want to be, in our case, JP Morgan Chase's counsel, then it's worth going through that process.
And we also have a really good working relationship with our marketing team, where they do bring us in on certain matters to help them think about like pricing arrangements. So if you have that in your firm, if you don't, there's other ways that you can do it, and I would say then you need to really work closely probably with your finance department. But at Deckard anyway, the project management team works closely with marketing and business development, and to kind of bring it all together. I mean, we're an international firm, 26 offices, partners are doing things all over the place, but we're sort of a central repository of information, and we can pull that for the whole firm that maybe the marketing and BD people can't because they're focused on one particular area.